What's up, guys? Wade Willis here for my playthrough of Umineko. This is episode 4, part 8. Someone gave me kind of the tip of just jamming through this whole next part in one episode. So I'm going to try to do that because I think it's supposed to be an hour and a half, just so it makes sense for your guys' viewing and stuff and things aren't cut off. So we will see. If I get to like the 2 hour mark, I may just have to stop because I start to die out at that point. But we started to see why kind of Ainge like shut herself off from magic to a certain extent, and yeah, it's pretty. It seems to be getting like somewhat dark, which for this game, if something's dark. In comparison to the other things, it's pretty dark. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from here. And guys, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for tons of When They Cry content. I'm covering Higurashi in depth. Most of you guys who are watching this already watch my Higurashi stuff, but be on the lookout for that. I have a Madoka reaction, which I should have another video of that out. It might actually come out before this video is posted. So be on the lookout for that as well. And yeah, guys, let's get into it. Yeah.
ああ、やっと返事した。このまま黙ってれば終わるとか、泣けば許してもらえるとか、そういうこと考えてるんじゃないの？
Yeah, these girls really
あん
suck.
た、自覚あるかって聞いてるのよ。自分が周りに迷惑かけてるって自覚があるのかって聞いてんのよ。
I slowly nodded. I acknowledged it. I acknowledged that I had slipped into the world of my daydream, trying to remain separate from the others in my class. To separate myself from and disgrace those sisters who had spoke to me with reliable and kind words. Despite being totally unable to help when I really needed them to, I acknowledge that.
私、後宮エンジェは協調性がなくてクラスメートに迷惑をかけました。
Come on, Ainge.
それは勉強ができないためクラスメート全体に対し過度の劣等感を持っていたからに他なりません。私は生きてても仕方ありません。
Damn. Starting there, I was no longer reading the paragraph they made me write. It was me improvising, and it was in my heart. They noticed that it wasn't what they'd anticipated, but while they did frown, no one spoke. So I continued.
そうです。私は生きてても仕方がなかった。1986年のあの日に私も連れて行ってもらうはずだったんです。なのに私だけが連れて行ってもらえなかった。どうして私はここにいるのでしょう。ここは私のいる世界じゃない。誰も助けてくれません。一時私の中に生まれた架空の友人たちだけが私を助けてくれるような気が
The
してい
thing
まし
is, if the sisters were real and they did care about Ainge, they wouldn't want to kill the girls for Ainge because that would change Ainge and make her not a good person.
た。友人たちは所詮は妄想で。だってここは妄想の世界じゃなくて、だからつまり私は今日までずっと現実のクラスメートを嫌い、妄想の友人たちとの交流の中だけに生きた。その友人たちとはさっき決別しました。だから私がここにいます。家族もいません。友人も捨てました。もう私には何者。どうして死なないの？さっきそう聞いた人がいました。その通りだと思います。どうして私は1986年に私はいえ、きっと死んだんです。なのに 私の殺された魂は
Damn, this shit's sad as hell.
未だにこの肉の檻に閉じ込められている。だからそれに誰も答えてくれないなら自分で死を。誰か私を死なせてください。
I spoke that sentence and looked around. Dumbfounded girls. Shocked girls. Girls whose faces seemed to be saying, "What the heck is this kid talking about?" And, a bit late, more and more girls with faces said, "Is this girl alright?" Whisper. Chatter. Then giggle. When I ordered the friends in my daydream to kill, they couldn't do it. And so, I asked real humans to kill me. But of course, these girls can't do it either. In other words, both daydreams and reality are the same. Doesn't this mean that, including this world, absolutely everything is a daydream? Then, there's no problem, right? After all, on that day when I lost my family, I was already dead. Everything that happened afterwards is going on in my head, my life flashing before my eyes after I failed to die. Once I understood that, it felt like the scenery surrounding me began to twist and bend slightly. Yeah, I'll finally wake up. I'll be released from this daydream world. I feel my consciousness sliding away. That's alright. Fade farther and farther away, and take me to my family. Then, no matter what happens in this twisted, stale world, I won't mind it at all. I saw the crowd getting pushed aside as a teacher stepped in. Perhaps the teacher doing the rounds happened to notice a strange disturbance. The teacher was vigorously shouting something, moving to protect me. Watching that, I knew that an ally had appeared for me, even if there was only one, and I felt my awareness return very slightly. The only ones who can save me in this world of reality are real humans. Never again. Never again will I seek rescue from daydreams. This is a world of humans. Nothing can save a human except other humans.
Hmm. そうだね。エンジがそう思ったなら、それがエンジの世界。エンジは、これで幸せになれる？
Certainly not.
エンジが、それでしか幸せになれないと信じたなら、カゴの中にいる青い鳥を、そうだと認められないなら、どこまでも探しに行かざるを得ない。ウリュウ、マリアとエンジェはもう、絶好なの？絶好なんかじゃないよ。エンジェがそれを求めたからそうしただけ。私たち魔女は、時に迫害を受けるけれども、でも、常にみんなの身近にある。そして、きっとその助けを求められる。エンジェも、また僕たちと遊んでくれる日が来る？来ないで、そのまま忘れてしまうこともあるかもしれない。
Well, that's a nice thought.
人の世ではそれを、成長や決別と呼ぶから。でも、
If Anxious remembers, we'll always be by her side. And until then, we'll be waiting.
「ウリュウ、マリア、返事して。ウリュウ、やっぱり僕はぬいぐるみなの？布と綿でできてるから。
Oh, this is after Ange said that, I'm guessing?
ないの？だから、マリアとはおしゃべりできないの？
Sakatara looked up at Maria sadly. Maria's face was covered with tears, and it looked as though it had even lost all traces of sadness.
聞こえてるよ、サク太郎。サク太郎は、布と綿でできたぬいぐるみなんかじゃないよ。マリアの、お友達だよ。エンジェなんか嫌い。 ウリュ、マリア、ごめんね。マリア、ごめんね。ウリュ。
Sakataro regretted doing that. By freezing her heart, Maria had finally been able to escape from her sadness. By speaking up and calling her back, he caused her to be overwhelmed with sadness again. Sakataro tried hugging Maria and letting go of her, and gazing at her uneasily, lost at how he could bring up Maria's spirits. He might have looked a little humorous doing that. In the end, that was enough to distract Maria from her sadness.
ごめんね。もう、泣いても仕方ないもんね。エンジェとは喧嘩しちゃったけど、マリアにはまだたくさん友達がいるよ。僕だけじゃない。みんなもいるよ。サクスケも、サク吉も、動物の音楽隊も、他にも。
Maria looked at the many stuffed animals around her pillow, which were gathered as though they were having an idle chat.
みんな、マリアのこと心配してるよ。どうしたらマリアが元気になってくれるかなって、ずっと相談しているよ。みんなは、エンジェみたいにいなくならない？ならないよ。僕たちはいつだって一緒だよ。本当に？サクタロたちは家でしか一緒じゃないよ。ママと一緒にお出かけできないし、学校にも一緒に行けないよ。僕たちは学校に行っちゃいけないから、先生に見つかったら怒られちゃうもん。でも、見つからないならいつだって一緒にいていいんだよ。サクタロウ、大きいから見つかっちゃうね。だったら、小さくて持ち歩ける子と一緒に行けばいいよ。例えば、ほら。森の音楽隊の仲間たちなら。ほら、小さいからマリアのポケットに隠れて一緒に学校に行けるよ。音楽隊、いっぱいいるよ。ポケットに入りきらないよ。
She collected all the forest band pieces that were scattered across her bed. There were about as many of them as the pieces in a chess set, so it would probably be impossible to fit them all in her pocket.
なら、特に仲良しのお友達だけを連れて行くといいよ。森の音楽隊の中で一番マリアと仲良しのウサギの4人組を4つならポケットに入る。これなら見つからないね。だから、マリアはこれで学校でも一人ぼっちじゃないよ。僕が一緒に行けないところでも、この子たちなら一緒にいてくれるよ。なら、寂しくないかも。お家に帰ってくるまで我慢できるかも。ママと先生にさえ見つからなければ、僕たちはいつだって一緒にいられるんだよ。そして、いつまでも一緒にいよう。遊んでいよう。僕たちはマリアを絶対に一人ぼっちになんかさせないから。うりゃ！
Maria's expression finally regained a little of its brightness. That's right. In the beginning, Maria's world didn't have Ainge in it. Even without Ainge, it was fun with everyone. And yet, strangely enough, it suddenly became sad without Ainge, who had come in at the end. All that's happened is that I've returned to the world right before Ainge entered it. So there's nothing to be sad about.
寂しくないよ。サク太郎もみんなも一緒だもん。ウリュウ、マリア大好き。
Sakataro's so
もう人間なんか
cute.
にマリアの世界には誰も立ち入らせないよ。マリアージュ・ソルシエールはマリアとベアトリーチェだけの二人きりの同盟。もともとベアともエンジェを加えるのには反対してたし、これでいいんだもんね。エンジェはまだ幼すぎたんだよ。エンジェのことは また仲良しになれるまで当分を忘れていていい。マリアがまた元気を取り戻せたら一緒に遊べばいいよ。それまで僕たちみんながずっとそばにいるからね。ありがとう。サクタロ、みんな。
Then Maria once again regained her former world. She regained the world that wasn't lonely, where she was surrounded by many friends. Just like usual, she didn't have any human friends at school, but her magic friends were always with her. The rabbit band she hid in her pockets talked with her during class, sounding like they were having fun. Just listening to that greatly embellished the time she spent in class. Maria made it so that as long as Mama and the teacher didn't find out, her friends could always be with her. When Mama Maria told Maria to go play outside, Maria would secretly pack Sakataro and Sasuke and the rest in her bag and play together at the library or somewhere. Even when Mom was late from coming home, Maria went shopping for dinner. She was always one with Sakataro. The man at the convenience store and other people were nice to Sakataro, and sometimes gave a second portion free for Maria and Sakataro. When Mama found out, Maria would get in trouble for bringing Sakataro and the rest outside. When the teachers found out, Maria would get in trouble for bringing toys to the school. The toxin must be strong with Mama and the teacher. That's why Sakataro looks like a normal stuffed animal to them. After all, the convenience store man and the others say hello to Sakataro. Not all humans are hopeless. There are tons of people who, like Ainge and Mama and teacher, can say hello to magical friends like I can.
Maria ちゃんかい。いらっしゃい。今夜もママは帰りが遅いのかい？
でも、サクタロたちも一緒だから寂しくないの。ねえ、サクタロ。ウリュウ、今日はね、僕だけじゃないんだよ。他のお友達も一緒なんだよ。
おや、他のお友達かい。今日はどんなお友達が一緒なんだい？
今日はね、森の音楽隊のウサギさんたちも一緒。ほら、ポケットに入ってるの。
Maria began to line up the 4 ceramic rabbit dolls on the register. As the owner of the shop looked at it smiling, he sent a signal to a part-timer with his chin. Then, the sign to the other register that said closed was taken down, and a voice called out for everyone to move over there. All the people in the line behind Maria lined up behind that one. What?
そうかそうか。マリアちゃんにはお友達がいっぱいだね。ママも早く帰ってきてくれればいいのに。
ママはまたお仕事が忙しくて、会社にお泊まりなの。
I have a bad feeling
最近
about
はよ
this.
く忙しくなるの。マリアと電話でお話しする時間も全然取れない。でも、寂しくないよ。マリアにはサクタロたちが
I
いるも
feel
ん。
so bad for this girl.
ウリュウ、ウサギの音楽隊のみんなも一緒だもん。ほら、キューキュー。
Is QQ the sound the rabbits make?
はて、そういや聞いたことないな。
After smiling at Sakataro, who was poking his head out of her knapsack, she played around with the rabbit band on the register, making them frolic around. Although the shop manager gazed at this pleasantly, he had a slightly pitying look on his face. Of course he did. This is apparently a single mother household where the mother had to work hard and couldn't come home very often. On top of that, it looked like this girl didn't have any friends. As he watched her play around happily with her dolls and claimed that she wasn't lonely despite everything, he couldn't help but feel a kind of compassion. And actually, this wasn't limited to him alone. Maria had become quite famous in this shopping district.
マリアちゃん、たまにはおでんも食べなさい。卵とか練り物とか食べないと大きくなれないよ。
クリームパンじゃダメ？ウリュウ、いろいろ食べないと大きくなれないよ。今日はおでんにしよう。じゃあおでんにする。
そうしなさい。おじさんが多めに入れておくよ。からしいる？
辛いのは苦手。
そうかそうか。じゃあ、こぼさないように持って帰りな。温かいうちが美味しいよ。
ありがとう。
She had planned on getting some sweet pastries for dinner, but since Odin had been recommended to her, she would be having that tonight instead. Letting someone else determine the menu makes for an unexpected and interesting meal. Very often Maria had to decide what her dinner would be on her own, and it was very easy for menus to get a little one-sided. So it felt fun to have a meal that she hadn't anticipated.
ウリュウ、おじさん、おまけしてくれてありがとう。
お家にいる他のお友達にもよろしくね。途中でつまみ食いしちゃダメだよ。まっすぐお家へ帰ってから食べるんだよ。
おじさん、ありがとう。
Maria raised the bag with Odin and contained her high.
あれ、ウリュ？どうしたの、マリア？ポケットに鍵がない。
Oh no. Standing in front of the door of her house, Maria searched all over her body. The key to the house wasn't there. She always methodically put it in the same pocket, so there was no way she had put it in another pocket, but she searched her whole body in case. Unsurprisingly, it wasn't there.
お財布を出した時に落とした？お財布を出してしまう時にはちゃんと手応えがあったもん。途中でポケットを探った時にもちゃんと手応えがあった。途中まではあったの。落としてなんかいない。
Even though the late autumn wind had been bearable when Maria had been thinking of returning home, where the heater was, now that she was confused and had lost her key, the wind had tormented her. But no matter how hard she searched, she couldn't find the key, and she turned out all the pockets and tried even taking her jacket off and hitting it, but no avail. Of course, she had turned the knapsack Sakatoro was in upside down, but the key didn't come out. Something that should have been there wasn't there as it was supposed to be. Why isn't the key there when I didn't do anything wrong? Why isn't it? Why? Why? Maria was cold and frustrated and angry, and she stomped on the ground. The bottom of her foot throbbed, but that didn't lessen her frustration. At the same time, her tears poured out. It wasn't her fault, so it was someone else's fault. But Maria didn't know who that someone was, and could do nothing but continue to let out a moan of anger.
ウリュウ、きっと途中で落としたんだよ。探そう。来た道を戻って探そう。せっかくおでん買ったのに、卵あったかいうちに食べられない。マリア、悔しいけど探す。誰も悪くないよ。探そう。
Maria finally lent an ear to Sakataro's words and began to trot back down the road she had come on. The wind was colder than before, and it felt like it was blowing in through the corners of her jacket in a mean way.
ウリュウ、しっかり足元を見て探そう。そして、早くお家に帰って、暖房で温まりながらおでんを食べ、きっと美味しいよ。ない。
As Sakataro encouraged her, Maria searched for the key. But she made it all the way back to the convenience store where she bought Odin. She hadn't found it. Just in case, she asked the man at the convenience store whether he had found a dropped key. But they hadn't found anything. One more time she returned home, paying close attention to the area around her feet. But unsurprisingly, she didn't find it. There was no longer frustrated enough to stomp her feet, but hot tears dripped down her face. The Odin had cooled down completely. Even though she had been told it was delicious when warm, she hadn't been able to eat it. Even though that man had given her so much free stuff.
ウリュウ、泣かないで。ママは今夜帰ってこないんだ。頑張って探そう。なんで見つからないの？頑張って探そう。マリア。
Maria was no longer able to hold back her tears. Sobbing, she clutched Sakataro and held a bag of Odin, returning once more down the road she had come by. Perhaps because more and more houses and stores turned their lights off by now, it was even darker and harder to search than before. And once again, without finding the keys, she returned to the convenience store.
マリアちゃん、鍵まだ見つからないのかい？
鍵、ない。
お母さん、今日は泊まりだって。鍵ないとお家入れないの？
入れない。
そりゃ困ったね。交番には行ってみた。届いてるかもしれないよ。
ママが、おまわりさんに話しかけられても、お話ししちゃダメって言った。
そりゃまたどうして？
It's probably because when Rosa would be liable for making such a young girl like Maria watch over the house by herself, and because she knew that it wasn't something that would be permitted by society. So Maria was indoctrinated into changing the stores that she bought things at so she didn't catch the eyes of adults, and into saying no more than greeting to a policeman if they talked to her. Maria had obediently done as she was told. Instead of considering why she must do that, she was much more concerned with meekly obeying because her mother had told her so. But the manager of the convenience store probably didn't think of it that way. In the first place, seeing such a young girl being forced to watch over the house by herself, and so frequently, would make anyone worry. And then, after making the round trip between her home and the store once again, and arriving at the convenience store for a third time, a policeman was there.
あの子です。マリアちゃん、鍵見つかったかい？
見つからない。
お嬢ちゃん、お名前は？
The policeman asked her name, but Maria didn't answer.
お母さんにおまわりさんとお話ししちゃいけないって言われてるの？大丈夫だよ。おじさんは怖くないよ。お嬢ちゃんは晩ご飯は食べた？
買ったけど、お家に入れないから、食べられない。
今日は帰ってこないの？お仕事？お母さんの会社の連絡先、わかるかな？
Maria hung her head limply. She didn't understand why the policeman was getting mad at her. No, he probably wasn't getting mad at her, but if this reached her mother's ears, she would definitely be in trouble. Even if she didn't understand the reason why she would be in trouble, she at least understood that much. But the policeman wouldn't let Maria go, and her head was swimming from hunger. The policeman noticed that and decided that he'd listen to her story as they ate it in the police box. Maria was taken to the police box. She had her Odin heated in a microwave, and even salty rice cakes and hot tea was brought out for her. She had been told not to talk to policemen, but after being asked about Sakataro, she responded, starting to feel that this wasn't a bad person. And anyway, she would be able to return home now, so she didn't know what to do. She told him Mama's phone work number, which she had been told not to use only in a very, very serious situation. In the tatami room inside the police box, she ate Odin that was so hot it felt like it would burn her. She watched some policemen making phone call, lazily thinking, I'm probably going to get in trouble.
マリア、ママに怒られるかな。
Yeah, I mean, she probably will, but He must have been listening to the phone ringing for a very long time. With the receiver up to his ear, the policeman looked at the clock, grumbling.
営業時間が終えちゃってるから出ないのかな。あ、もしもし。もしもし。有限会社アンチローザさんで。
Anti Rosa Limited.
こちら、小松川警察署千本桜駅前交番でございます。う大館じゃないや。後宮社長さんはいらっしゃいますか？はい。休暇中？
Oh my gosh.
はい。社長は昨日から3日間休暇になってます。
Oh.
どういったご用件で？
いや。 それで、どちらにおられるかわかりますかね？連絡先とか聞いてたりしませんかね？
ちょっとお待ちいただいてよろしいですか？
That is not good.
ねえ、誰か社長の旅行先聞いてる？
I had a feeling that's...
連絡先。
彼氏と札幌カニ食い放題って聞きました。
Oops. I haven't heard... Okay, sorry.
了解。もしもし、札幌に行ってるそうですけど、連絡先まではちょっとわかりません。ご伝言しますか？
How did her mom, like, not give her... This is...
そうですか。じゃあ、もし連絡がつきましたら、こちらから電話があったとお伝えできますか？はい。
Jesus. This is so messed up. For, like, a little kid, you have to, like, have one hidden or... I mean, not even a little... But, like, you shouldn't even have that kid by themselves. But, I mean, the chance of locking yourself out of the house and stuff is so high. Like, I don't... After that, I was taken to the police department, which was even bigger, and ended up spending the night there. And they asked me various things about myself. A lady who called herself the district welfare officer came by and asked about a lot of things, and I was told, "You poor thing." When I heard that, I learned for the first time.
マリアって、かわいそうだったの？ウリュウ、そんなことないよ。マリアは幸せ。
Yeah, and it's not like they can, like, just break into the house for her to stay there and look for her key there. I wonder if Beatrice took it. Then Rosa came back. Maria was told to go to her room, but on her way back from the bathroom, she hid by the entrance to the living room and listened in on the exchange. The person who came by to visit was a female district welfare officer who had asked Maria various questions on that other day.
そういう押し付けは困ります。マリアは心が純粋すぎて繊細だから、無神経な子がいたら傷つけられてしまうんです。余計なおせっかいはやめてください。
でもね、お母さん、そんなに繊細な子なら、なんで一人で家に放置しておくの？お母さんが一緒にいてあげるべきなんじゃないですか？
なるべく一緒にいるようにしています。そんなこと、あなたに指図される覚えはありません。
I mean, technically you're breaking the law,
そうですか？この辺のご近所ではとても有名ですよ。お宅のお嬢さんが夜、頻繁に買い物や食事に来るって、みんな気にしてて気を使ってくれてたんですよ。
どうしてうちの子だとわかるんですか？子供なんて街中にいくらでもいるじゃないですか。
No, definitely not.
勝手にうちのマリアだと決めつけないでください。夜に出歩く子供だってたまにはいるでしょう。それらが全てうちの子だという証拠でもあるんですか？
Oops. I didn't.
商店街でもとても有名だったんですよ。
It's nice that everyone around the town was like, or in the city around that area was
みんなマリアちゃんのことを
so
思っ
supportive
て
of her though.
大切にしてくれてました。
ライオンのぬいぐるみなんてどこにでもあります。
Yeah, no.
自宅まで送るなんて余計なお世話です。
I have something bad's about to
マ
happen
リアを誘
here.
拐するつもり？
To Sakataro, I think.
マリアに構わないで。マリアは私の子です。私が育ててます。おかしな施設に入れるつもりもまるでありません。余計なおせっかいはやめて。
ウリュウ、ライオンのぬいぐるみって僕のこと？大丈夫だよ。怒られるのはマリアだよ。サクタロは関係ないよ。
Maria hugged Sakataro, continuing to watch her mother fearfully.
私もマリアと毎日一緒にいられたらと思います。でもシングルマザーですから
Yeah,
働かなくちゃ
that's
なら
such
ない。
bullshit.
私はこう見えても会社の社長ですから社員の生活も背負っている。一年中仕事で忙しいんですよ。休む暇だってないんです。
そう？でもこの3日間、 お休みだったんでしょ？
休みなんかじゃありません。私はずっと会社で泊まりがけで仕事をしてい
You
ました。
definitely did not.
他の頼りない社員では片付けられない案件が私には山積みなんです。
どうしてそんな嘘つくの？あなたの会社の人が3日間お休みを取ってますって言ってるのよ。彼氏さんと北海道に行ってきたんでしょ？娘さんを3日間も置いて。
That, yeah, see, if she was working, it would be much more understandable to me.
彼氏なんて知りません。北海道なんて知りません。どうしてそんなデタラメ言うの？
I mean, maybe the people at her work lied, but I kind of doubt it.
どうしてなんか証拠でもあるの？何よあんた、勝手に人の家のことに口を出さないでよ。
But the way
私は
she's
マリアを
like,
愛してるのよ。私には私なりの愛し方があるのよ。
acting
勝手
like
に
a
口出さないでよ。
guilty person.
私は旅行になんて行ってないわよ。仕事してたのよ、ずっと。
Imagine if you didn't go on vacation and the people that you work with just didn't, like, tell you.
マリアに1秒でも早く会いたくて、仕事を少しでも早く片付けようと、一生懸命会社に泊まり込んで、ずっと知らない北海道なんて知らないわよ。勝手なこと言わないで。
Damn, shouty.
もう帰ってよ。何なのよあんたは。帰って
Rosa raged, her hair flying wildly. A teacup was knocked over for the force of her standing up, but far louder than that was the sound of her beating the tablecloth with both hands. When faced with this rage that could accurately be described as wide-eyed derangement, the district welfare officer couldn't help but be taken aback. And the same went for Maria, who was secretly watching this from the hallway. She had already seen her mother enraged several times before this, but she had never seen her this crazed with anger. When she saw this, Maria was sure this was no longer her mother. It was some other evil being that was possessing her mother's body. And then she herself was discovered by the evil being. Maria knew that she was being reflected in the evil being's eyes. Her mind was blank and she felt as though her field of vision was racing off into the distance. After fiercely closing in on Maria, Rosa mercilessly slapped her on her small shoulders and dropped her gaze towards the stuffed animal Maria was holding, Sakatara.
マリア、あなた、あれだけお外にそれを持って行っちゃダメって言ったのに、持って行ったのね。
ウリュウ。マリアは悪くないよ。僕がついていくって言ったの。違うよ。マリアが寂しいから勝手にサク太郎連れてったの。だからママ、サク太郎は悪くないの。ウリュウ、マリア。サク太郎は悪くないよ。サク太郎は悪くないよ。
Instead of Maria, the brunt of Rosa's anger was aimed at the lion-stuffed animal Maria was holding. A girl went shopping in the middle of the night, always clutching a lion-stuffed animal. Because of that, she had become well known in the shopping center.
ぬいぐるみ持ってっちゃダメって言ったでしょ。どうしてあんたはママの言うことが聞けないのよ。どうしてよ。どうしてママの言いつけがちゃんと守れないのよ、あんたは。
With every single word, she stamped her heel and banged ferociously on the wall. Of course, she didn't make any direct contact with Maria. However, the violence of the harsh sound certainly beat against her.
お母さん。
Oh, geez, the lady's still there?
話してよ。話せって言ってんでしょ。
The district welfare officer had come back to her senses and was pinning Rosa's arms to her back. But the instant Rosa was touched, she went wild, furiously throwing the welfare officer off. She hit the table and fell to the ground. A teacup on the table smashed on the floor, making a violent sound.
マリアは悪くないよ。
Jesus.
僕が悪いの。だ だからマリアを叱らないで。
Sakutaro's
サクタロを連れ
toast.
てったのはマ
He
リア。
is toast.
サクタロは悪くないの。サクタロは悪くないの。だからサクタロをそんな怖い目で見ないで。見ないで。マリアを叱らないで。マリアを叱らないで。ウリュー。
あんた、さっきから何をやってるの？あんた、そのお人形さんごっこ、外でもやってたの？お店の人の前でもやってたの？だから、覚えられちゃうんでしょ？少しは考えろ、このバカ！なんであんたはそう大バカなのよ！正直におっしゃいな。お外でお買い物をするとき、ママに内緒でいつもそのぬいぐるみを持ち歩いてたのね。
ウリュウ。
その変なぬいぐるみ語をやめなさい。ぬいぐるみじゃなく、あなたの言葉で喋りなさい。
サクタロはぬいぐるみじゃない。マリアの友達だよ。ぬいぐるみって言わないで。言わないで。
はいはい、わかったわ。サク太郎だったわね、名前。ママに内緒でそのサク太郎人形を持っていつもお買い物に行っていたのね。
Dude, this is absolutely insane. Maria admitted it honestly. If she hadn't admitted it, then Sakutaro would have said something to take the blame. So by admitting it right away, she was protecting her small friend. Yeah, you think so.
サク太郎だけ？他には？まさか学校にも何か変なのを持って行ってるんじゃないでしょうね。お母さん、お嬢さんは悪くないでしょう。その質問をやめなさい。
Yeah, this is nuts.
あんたは
She should
黙
not
ってな
have
さ
a
い。
kid.
私と娘の話でしょ。ほらマリア、ママの目を見て話をしなさい。ママの質問にお返事は？
I am not a fan
サ
of
ク
this.
太郎だけじゃないの。ウサギのみんなも一緒。
今も持ってるの？
おう。
Maria fished around her pockets, pulling out the 4 ceramic rabbits with her tiny hand. The rabbits were her close friends, who could be together with her at school in Sakutaro's place. But when Rosa saw that, she shook her head slightly as though dizzy. On a school notice, it had been written that Maria was apparently bringing toys to school and playing with them, and her family was instructed to try to prevent this. But Rosa had rejected that, blaming the teacher and phoning in on a protest of her own to the school, saying that there was no way her child would bring toys to school. For nearly an hour, she had shouted at the vice principal to stop making false accusations about her daughter. To a certain degree, those at school had grasped that Maria was a pitiful girl. They knew that the small toys she brought were her only friends, so they had done their best to overlook it. But when the other students caught sight of them, some of the boys had started complaining that only she could bring toys and that the school had to rack their brains on how to cope with this. They had tried to gently send a warning by way of the mother, but after Rosa's overreaction, even Maria's teachers decided to overlook it. Good lord. But now Rosa knew that she had been the one who was wrong, and her daughter had really been bringing toys to school. And those at the school had known that she was a disgrace to those who brought toys to school and played with them as though they were her only friends. To Rosa, who thought her daughter was just a little different from normal children, having this peculiar side of her daughter exposed and found fault was more than anything else something she couldn't bear. So she howled. She raged. The district welfare officer tried to cut between Rosa and Maria again, but she only met with Rosa's wrath once more. Rosa once again threw the woman off with a face like a demon. And when that failed to curb her anger, she stomped on the ground over and over again so forcefully that it seemed she might break through the floor. Then after seeming to come back to her senses for a second, she immediately froze her harsh breathing and asked Maria,
マリア、そのウサギの音楽隊はマリアの大切なお友達？
Don't do it.
そう。 4人もお友達がいてよかったわ。
Uh-oh. As she said that, Rosa grabbed one of the rabbits from Maria's hand. Then she shoved it in front of Maria's eyes so she could see it very well. The cute rabbit holding the trumpet was a small doll-like chess piece. She slowly lifted it into the air, and of course Maria and Sakataro's eyes followed it. And then with a speed that the eye couldn't follow, she smashed it against the wall. She'd have to imagine that the worst possible thing might happen, so she instantly realized that it had been done. So Maria let out a short, despairing scream. It was in pieces. It had been small and sturdy, but that hadn't been enough to withstand her mother's fierce rage.
ママの言うことをちゃんと聞かないから、一つ壊れちゃったわ。今後、ママの言うことを守らないたびに、また一つ壊すからね。覚えておきなさい。あなた、そんなことするなんて母親ですか？そんなことしてお嬢さんが傷つかないと思ってるんですか？マリアが傷つく？私も傷ついているのよ。私の傷は誰が責任取ってくれるのよ。誰が？あんたは黙っててって言ってるでしょ。やめてママ。悪いのはマリア。
Oh,
おばさんを怒らないで。
this is painful.
マリアは悪くないよ。僕が悪いの。
Don't say anything, Sakataro.
マリアを怒らないで。うりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅうりゅう。
そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ったで。だいたいね、気持ち悪いのよ。ぬいぐるみがお友達ってあんた今年でいくつよ。何歳よ。こんなの布と綿の気持ち悪い下手くそなぬいぐるみじゃない。こんなのしか友達いないのあんた。こんな化け物のぬいぐるみとお友達ごっこしてる暇があったらちゃんとした人間の友達を作りなさいよ。なんであなたにはいつまでもお友達ができないのよ。
Why can you never get a boyfriend for a long time? Is another question.
バカにされて。ほんとしっかりして。こんなぬいぐるみ遊びもう卒業しちゃってよ。
うりゅうりゅう。
だからそのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろって言ってるでしょ。ママ返して。サキ太郎返して。うりゅうりゅう。
Mama grabbed hold of Sakataro's head and took him from me. She then smashed him against the wall over and over.
やめろっつってんのよ。そのぬいぐるみごっこをやめろっつってんでしょ。
This is so sad, but imagine if you're mad at your daughter for being like kind of weird, I guess, and doing some of the stuffed animal, and you start beating it up, and your daughter's like doing the voices from the stuffed animal, which is what they're kind of seems like they're implying here.
こんなぬいぐるみがあるから。だから一人だけクラスで浮いてておかしな子扱いされるんでしょうが。こんなぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。こんな気持ち悪いぬいぐるみあげなきゃよかった。やめてー。サク太郎返して。サク太郎返して。サク太郎はマリアのお友達なの。親友なの。サク太郎さえいれば他には何もいらない。だから返して。返して。
For some reason, my frantic request just added oil to the fire of my mama's anger. Mama pushed my arm aside as I tried to grab Sakataro and snatch him back. And in a bizarre way, she struck her fingernails on both hands deep into Sakataro, twisting him. The red muffler which I had carefully wrapped for him every day, came off and fell to the floor. Sakataro, who had been so precious to me, was twisted, smashed, and torn with fingernails so much. He was twisted painfully, his face curving in sadness. Then Mama's fingernails found a stitch on the neck and tore it. With the fingernails of both hands, she tore it apart. That's messed up. In that instant, Sakataro's yellow cloth and the cotton inside burst apart. It looked almost like moist cotton candy. I can't believe I'm feel so bad about a freaking stuffed animal right now. The crumpled yellow cloth and the cotton candy flowing out were thrust right in front of my eyes. Then, through Mama's face, the evil being stated it clearly.
作太郎は死んでしまいました。
Magagage Yorui Gyogo. What? What? Kotaro. Sakuta. Oh. Ooh. What is going on here? Sorry,
マリア、泣くんでない。
ベアトリーチェ！作太郎は良き友人であった。そなたがそれを忘れぬ限り、常にそなたと共にある。だから、泣くんでない。
Yeah, I'm really hitting Rosa right now. I assume she's possessed, but still.
それは無論作太郎がわらわの家具だったならそれもたやす。しかしわらわにそれは難しい。難しいってことは無理じゃないんだよね。生き返らせて、無限の魔法で生き返らせて。実はな、作太郎のよりしろはローザの手作りのぬいぐるみであったろう。そのローザが作太郎を否定した。母にその生を許されなかった命は存在できぬのだ。
Beatrice's words were feeble, because she knew that no matter what the excuse, it wouldn't be enough to calm Maria and make her accept it. But she had to communicate the painful truth to her disciple and close friend. She had to tell her the fact that even with all of her own power, even she could not revive Sakutaro.
そなたが作太郎の存在を強く信じる限り、その魂が消え去ることはない。だからマリア、どうか悲しむな。今もほら、すぐそこで作太郎が微笑んでいると信じるのだ。諦めよ。作太郎を蘇らせる魔法はない。そして
それでもなお作太郎がそなたの親友であり続けることを強く信じよ。その力が魔法となる。
そんなの魔法じゃない！作太郎が生き返らなきゃ嫌だ！
It ain't gonna happen, Maria. I mean, I feel like this is pretty important. He's gonna have to come back in some way, but...
どうしてママは作太郎を作ったの？マリアにプレゼントするためじゃないの？マリアのお友達にするためじゃないの？
Something's possessing Rosa, I feel like.
なのに、なんでママは自分で作って自分で壊したの？どうしてママは自分で産んで自分で壊そうとするの？わかんない！ママが憎いよ！ママが憎い！
I mean, she is justified to hate her mom.
悔しい！作太郎がそうされたようにママをねじり上げてやりたい！爪を立てて引き裂いて布地と綿にしてやりたい！悔しいよベアトリーチェ！作太郎！
From the darkness behind Maria's back, two massive, jet black arms crept out, twisting around Maria as she sobbed in anger. Then, massive fingernails stuck into Maria's chest and stomach. Damn, what the hell's going on? Maria could not see that, but Beato could. Anger and sadness without any place to go will tear her apart. Beato knew that. She could see that. Yes. In the end, those massive arms were Maria's own. Oh, okay. And his fingernails started to slowly started to eat into her chest and stomach. With their immense size and strength, those arms could probably tear Maria into bits easily. But Maria herself couldn't notice. Drowning in a sea of her own tears, she couldn't notice that her own arms were trying to take her apart her own chest.
悔しい！作太郎がどうしても生き返らせられないならマリアは復讐したい！ママを同じ目に遭わせてやりたい！
So is this why everything started?
作
Now
太郎
that
と
could
同
be.
じ目に遭わせてやりたいの！ベアトリーチェ、そのための魔法を教えて！ママをやっつける魔法を教えて！
その言葉は本心か。
ママを殺してやる！あれはママじゃないよ！ママに取り付いた悪い魔女だ！ママの魔女を殺してやる！
よかろう。その力を。
Damn.
心美しきそなたが自らに引き裂かれるくらいならば、そなたにその苦しみを与えた心なき母こそがよほど引き裂かれるに教えようぞ。魔女の世界の光さすことなき深淵の奥底を。
作太郎！みんな嫌い大嫌い！ママも嫌い！エンジェも嫌い！みんな大嫌い！
It's interesting, we've never seen this side of Maria, which is quite alarming, thinking about all the things that had happened in the past. Okay, so I think that was the part I needed to get to, but I'm going to play a bit longer. I had planned on taking a nap, but the boat was really shaking bad. I gave up on sleeping and went outside onto the deck. There I was welcomed by the shining sun and a strong sea breeze. Amakusa had been doing some stretches on the deck. He must have a lot of time on his hands too. After all, it'll be several more hours before we reach Njima. It would only have taken a couple dozen minutes by airplane, but there was a chance that Najima Airport was under the Sumodera family's web. The harbor would probably be the same. For that reason, I had obtained a boat that would let me land while avoiding the harbor, no questions asked. I'd bump into a charity boat captain, plied him generously, and he had decided to help me out, amused.
まだだいぶかかるの？
さっき船長に聞いたら、あと2時間はたっぷりかかるそうです。ま、贅沢は言えねえですな。
いいお天気ね。焼けちゃいそう。
甲板で読書ですか？本が傷みますよ。
Makusa apparently thought this because I was clutching Maria Oni-chan's diary under my arm. I've been reading it half asleep, which is why I'd come back up still clutching it.
どうですか？マリアさんの日記から六軒島の真相は探れそうですかい？
さあ、あの島で何があったかなんて、どこまで調べても仮説でしかない。メッセージボトルもお姉ちゃんの日記も、魔女が闊歩するおとぎ話が記されているだけで、何もお手上げよ。
新島での関係者からの聞き込みに期待するしかないですな。
ウィッチハンターどもが散々質問攻めにしてるでしょうから、きっと真事実なんて見つからないわよ。
そこまで期待してないのに、半日も船旅をして新島に行こうなんて、実に気まぐれな。
調べたっていう自己満足のための旅みたいなものよ。本気で12年前の真実が解き明かせるなんて、私も甘えてるつもりはな。
その自己満足が終わったら、どうするつもりで？
さあ、考えてないわ。新島に行って関係者に話を聞いて、最後に六軒島に行って花でも捧げたら、私の旅はおしまいね。
So I'm guessing there's going to be servants that survive. I don't think any servants survived in that arc. Several days had already passed since this journey began. After being told by Bern Castell on the roof of the building to search for the truth of 12 years ago, I left on a journey like trying to grasp a cloud. At the time, I felt as though I had experienced something mystical and had a feeling that I might be able to grasp some kind of miracle at the end of this journey. But after several days passed, my excitement died down. On that day when I stood on the roof of that skyscraper, my heart was completely cornered and dead. So I wanted from the bottom of my heart to be released from the cage of my body and rise into the sky, and had crossed the fence into the order to die. Maybe experiencing the desire to die and actually stepping forwards, throwing my own body down, caused me some kind of mystical experience inside my head, making me think I had received a message from a witch. The excitement for my jump lessened over time, and the more I came back to my senses, the more the journey lost its meaning. But I didn't even consider suspending this journey just because of that. If I stop this journey, it'll mean I'm acknowledging that the message from the witch was an illusion. I felt as though that meant throwing away the promise the witch made. And any chance of that, someone from my family might come back. So because it was hard to believe that those events were an illusion, I've continued on my journey. I don't seriously believe that this journey will change anything. It's even up to me when to end this journey. It's up to me to choose when the final destination is, where, in the end, this journey is only for my self-satisfaction.
自己満足か。聞こえは悪いですが、そいつが実は人生ってやつではないかと思ってます。
傭兵家業で視線をくぐった末に至った答えだったなら、なかなか味わい深いじゃない。
茶化さんでください。俺が言いたいのは、自己も何も自分を認められるのは世の中で自分だけしかいないってことです。
Amakusa continued stretching as he spoke. In an irritatingly fresh way, hearing it told me, as though from a teacher, it made me instinctively want to resist, but what he was saying was something extremely sensible.
そうかもね。 人は誰かに認められたくて努力をするわ。多くの場合、それは親ね。親に褒められたくて子供は努力を覚える。だから私は覚えなかったわけだけど。
すんません。そういうつもりで言ったんじゃないです。俺が言いたいのは、自己満足大いに結構、誰に褒められたって、それを納得できなきゃ意味。逆を返しゃ、誰に褒められなくったって、自分が納得できりゃそれでいいってことです。
自己満足と向上心って矛盾するから、普通は悪いことって教えられるわよね。天草の論法はなんだか新鮮よ。
誰かに認めて欲しくて、だけれど何を努力すればいいのかわからないのが人の世の苦しみです。俺にもそういう頃があった。誰かに認められたくて、でも何を認められればいいかわからなくて、そして何をどこまで努力すれば誰に認めてもらえるかわからなくて、随分と無茶苦茶をやってきたもんです。
それで天草が至った答えが自己満足だっていうの？
聞こえは悪いがそういうことです。我ただ樽を知るってやつですわ。俺がこれでいいと思った人生なら、それはとやかく言われてどうこうってもんじゃない。エンジェさんの人生もこの旅も同じです。エンジェさん以外の誰にもとやかく言う権利なんてない。旅の意味と成果はエンジェさんだけが決める。エンジェさんにとって有意義な旅になったなら、それで十分な。
あんたってちゃらけてる男だと思ってたけど、たまに変なこと言い出すのね。そういうこと、たまに言うとモテると思ってるでしょ。
まさかまさか。そんなつもりで言ったんじゃありません。どうやらお一人になりたいようだ。俺は船長のところへ行っていますぜ。どうぞごゆっくり。
Makusa apparently decided I was in a bad mood, although I didn't feel that way myself. Or he might have finished his set of stretches and wanted to cool off in the shade. The sea winds were strong, but not enough to cool the rays of the sun. Amakusa disappeared. Only I remained.
自己満足こそが人生か。
そんなのつまらないです。
Oh,
人
hey
生
girl.
はどこまでも強欲でなくっちゃ。
I noticed that Mama had suddenly appeared, her abundant hair fluttering by the prow of the ship.
強欲な人生は確かに楽しいわ。でも、あなたと違って人間には寿命がある。永遠に強欲のままだったなら、人は死ぬ最後の瞬間にも欲があることになる。欲があるということはつまり、欲しいと持っていないということ、満たされていないということ。自分が満たされていると思えないまま死ぬのは、きっと辛いこと。だからきっと、自己満足って必要なんだわ。
なるほど。寿命ある存在には、そういう妥協点も必要ってことですか。私たちの主は、やたらと寿命の長いお方ばかりだったんで、考えたこともなかったで。
人間ってのは、満たされるために生きてるのかしら。だとしたら、無欲が一番人生の優しいことになるわ。なるほど。7つの大罪の一つが強欲になるのも納得ね。
お褒めに預かり光栄です。
Apparently that counted as a compliment in Malmon's eyes. Yeah. She turned and gave a graceful bow.
エンジ様、人間は死の瞬間に満足であるために生きてるんですか？
死の瞬間に何かが満たされていないのは、きっと辛いんじゃない？
だとしたら人間は満足な死を迎えるためだけに生きてるわけですね。より良い死のために生きてる。死ぬために生きてる。
This kid's saying something that's pretty incredible. I see, as I'd expect from a demon stake. However, it might be the truth. Humans suffer because they aren't satisfied and live only to find satisfaction. In other words, that might be the same as a desire to die satisfied. I actually kind of agree
言い
with
返せ
that.
ないわ。
Yeah.
人は満たされるために生きてる。そして、満たされたまま死にたいと願ってる。だから、その満たされ方がわからないのは、とても辛いことだわ。
どうやれば満たされるんです？人間の人生は。
認めてもらうことよ。お前は幸せだってね。
誰が認めてもいいものでしたら、私が認めてあげますよ。
そうよ。そこなのよ。誰に認めてもらえばいいのか、わからないのよ。
その認めてくれる人を探すのが人生の旅なんですか。へえ。
Interesting.
おかしな話ね。認めてもらおうと、認めてもらわなかろうと、自分にもかかわらず、認められれば満たされ、認められないから満たされない。まるで
Okay.
青い鳥だわ。カゴの中にもう青い鳥はいるのに、それに気づけないから、どこまでも探しに旅立たなければならない。
何ですかそれ。
Yeah, that's a bit weird to me.
人間の人生ってバカですね。
そうね。天草は本当にいいことを言ったわ。我ただ樽を知るか。何のことわざか知らないけど、味わい深いわ。
I like it too.
つまるところ、誰かに認めてもらわなければ満ち足りないとは、すなわち自らを認められないということ。究極の自己実現は、まず自分を自分で認めることだったのよ。
そりゃそうです。自分が満ち足りてるって自覚できるなら、誰にも認めてもらう必要なんかないですから。その小さなことに気づくだけで、人間のくだらない人生の旅は簡単に終了ですね。残った時間を有意義に遊んで過ごせます。人間の人生ってバカバカしい。
Mama's choice of your words is bad, but it surely was the truth. If a human's life is a journey with hopes that someone will acknowledge them, so that they can achieve a satisfied death, then when they realize that the person doing the acknowledging isn't someone else but themselves, that probably surely can end. Humans who have ended that journey can probably spend the rest of their lives as they wish, with their heads held high. How noble, how praiseworthy would that be?
天草ってさ、親とはかなり仲が悪いらしいのよ。そりゃそうよね。まっとうな親なら足を洗わせたいと願うの
Yeah,
が
that is
商
a
売だ。
horrible career path.
別にいいんじゃない？本人が楽しいなら。
まったくよね。結局はそういうことなのよ。他人が観測した自分の評価なんかどうでもいいこと。自分の存在を自分自身がしっかり認められたなら、それで十分なのよ。自分に自信を持って生きられるなら、どんな生活だって受け入れて納得できるに違いない。天草はきっといつか戦場で流れ弾を食らって大怪我をするでしょうよ。あるいは死ぬことさえあるかもしれない。でも天草はそれを理不尽とは思わないと思う。それも人生と、あいつはケラケラ笑ってるような気がするの。
いい生き様じゃない。惚れるわ。
自分で自分を認められない哀れな人間は、生涯それを求めてさまよい、何も受け入れられず、不平不満だけを口にし、哀れだわ。何の目的もなく、だらだらと生きてる連中に比べたら、やがてのだれ死にするかもしれないけれど、自分の人生に胸を張っている天草の方が、よっぽど高潔なのよ。
I don't disagree.
人生、悟ったものの勝ちってことじゃない？少しでも早く悟れれば、その分、有効に残りの人生が過ごせてお得よね。
With Mamon's words, I finally accepted a certain fact. In the past, I've called that girl unusual, a little strange. However, that wasn't true. All she did was keep her head held high and finish that journey faster than anyone else.
だからマリアお姉ちゃんはすごかったのかもしれない。彼女は小学校低学年になるかならないかという年齢のうちにそれに至ったのよ。
Yeah, that is super impressive. For people like us looking at her life from the outside, it wasn't something we call blessed. But even though days like that were engraved in her diaries, they always finish up by saying that it was a happy day. Even though part of her mother that didn't love her daughter came and went, she believed that her mother loved her. And her mother's love didn't exist. She created herself, filling her world with love. Others might observe her as unsatisfied, pitiful girl, but she herself acknowledged that she was satisfied, and so she was happy that way. It's easy to observe that something is pitiful and sad, but to her, that was an outsider's opinion, so it didn't matter. Whether or not it was happy for her was the only important thing. Just like how when people who live in the city point to the lifestyle of those in rural areas and mourn the inconvenience and feel sympathy for them, it's really none of their business. If those who live are satisfied with what they have, that's more than enough. That's so true. I lived in a rural area before, and it changed my way of thinking about people like that.
私、ようやく気づいたわ。今気づいた。マリアお姉ちゃんにひどいことをしたのよ。あの日に、あなたたちにも、作太郎にも。魔法があるかないか、それを決めるのは他人じゃないわ。自分よ。マリアお姉ちゃんにとって魔法があるかないかは、マリアお姉ちゃんが決めるべき問題で、
Yes.
私が決めることじゃない。なのに、私は幼いあの日、魔法なんてあるわけないって、彼女を傷つけてしまった。
The fact that magic doesn't exist in my eyes matters in my world, but denying even One-chan's words for that reason was totally misguided.
マリアージュ・ソルシエルは、マリアお姉ちゃんの作った魔女同盟。私はそれに誘われて、一緒に魔女になろうと言われたの。新しい面白い遊びだと思って、私でも、幼さゆえの残酷さ、途中で飽きてしまった。そして、鋭利な言葉で、彼女の純粋無垢な心をあの時、大喧嘩をしたはず。私はすぐに忘れてしまったけれど、彼女になぜなら、彼女にとって魔法は、確かに存在する自然な力で、それは私とも共有できると信じていたから。マリアお姉ちゃんにとって世界を幸福に解釈できる。いえ、すべてを幸福にできる、まさに魔法の力だった。それを私にもお裾分けしたかっただけ。その気持ちを幼い私が引き裂いた。
I still can't believe they made this into like a 24 episode show with like 24-minute episodes.
誰とも魔法
I
は
just
分かり
don't.
合えないと殻の中に閉じこもってしまったのよ。
だとしたら、マリア教もやはり人生の旅は終わってないわけね。
Which to my knowledge, Higurashi is shorter. The visual novel is shorter, and it's what 48, like not including Go and Soats, but that's like 48 episodes. I mean, you would really need, I feel like at least 3 seasons with 24 episodes at least to do. Like, I'm sure there's stuff you could cut out.
エンジさんに否定されたくらいで、
but you need
へこむ必要なんてないわけだし。
I just don't see how you could do it in 24 episodes.
お
Well,
姉ちゃんは幼かった。天草みたいな達観にはまだ至ってなかったのよ。はあ、だからこそわかるわ。マリアージュ・ソルシエルという魔女同盟がなぜ必要なのか。
An alliance where each acknowledges that the other is a witch.
そうよ。それが確か、マリアージュ・ソルシエルの取り決めの大同盟の魔女は、互いを魔女と認め、尊敬し合うことって。それこそが魔女同盟の一番の、そして唯一の意味なのよ。
Well, acknowledgement makes them stronger, I believe, too. Maria wanted to share with me the secret laws to make the world happy called magic. But I was young, and she was too. I hurt her with innocent cruelty.
私はあの日に言ったわ。
The,
暴言を。
the worst thing is when you realize stuff you said when you were younger, and like it was like mean and you didn't understand, and then you like think back of it like, yeah, there's things I said like 15 years ago that I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I said that to someone. Like that's so like rude and messed up. But at the time I didn't think it was bad, and just through life I've realized like, oh, that I shouldn't have said that.
あなたたちや作太郎に存在するわけがないって。
失礼しちゃうわ。私たちは、私たちが存在するって自らを認めてる。我を思うゆえに我あり。
I think therefore I am.
魔法を認めようと否定しようと、私たち煉獄の七姉妹という魔法が存在することは、ゆえに事実。園児様の言葉を借りるなら、私たちが自らをそう認めている限り。
それを他者である私が否定するのはまさに暴力だわ。それはきっと実の母にお前なんか生まれてこなければよかったと。いいえ、消えてしまえと怒鳴りつけられるくらいにね。
Going for a while. But yeah, that not gonna lie, that the part with Sakataro was rough, to say the least. Which that shows how good the like writing is in this. That you mean something like I was sad that a stuffed animal was dying. And it's just a stuffed animal, but they did such a good job giving Sakataro a personality and showing really the importance of Sakataro to Maria as like, you mean her best friend, but almost like a lifeline from her kind of shitty life. But yeah, I mean, yeah, just so good. I'm thoroughly impressed with how they handled that. Probably one of the most impressive things about this so far. But yeah, guys, I mean, again, a really good episode. And yeah, I'm kind of, yeah, I'm that part, I felt really sad, and I did not think that it would bother me at all, and I knew it was coming, because like it seemed like, okay, that's gonna be the one thing to make it really suck or like upset me, and I could they were kind of foreshadowing stuff would happen to him, and yeah, it would just like crush me. I'm like, holy crap, I can't believe they freaking did that. But yeah, great writing to make that have such an effect on the reader. So, but yeah, let me know what you thought about this episode in the comments below. And yeah, gonna try to do 2 this upcoming week and start picking it back up again, doing more and more. But yeah, thanks guys.